Good evening and welcome to a special breaking broadcast that has sent shockwaves not only through Zaid Sports City but across the entire tennis world. We are live, we are right in the heart of the action, and we are watching history unfold at the Mubadala Abu Dhabi Open. If you believe the early rounds of this WTA 500 event were simply tune-ups, if you assume the draw was designed for the seeds to sail through, then you and all of Abu Dhabi have been completely stunned. A storyline is emerging right now that may be the most gripping narrative of the entire Middle East swing. We are witnessing the collision of two powerful and contrasting forces. On one side stands a rising sensation, the pride of the Philippines, a young woman who is not merely competing but carrying the dreams of an entire nation on her shoulders, Alexandra Ela. On the other side is a seasoned veteran, a proven giant slayer, a player who has already delivered the biggest upset of the tournament by taking apart the 8th seed Paula Badosa. That player is Aliaksandra Sasnovich. Tonight's headline is simple yet deeply unsettling. Abu Dhabi is in shock. Why? Because the draw has been completely blown open. The road to the quarterfinals has shifted dramatically, and now the ultimate question looms. Survives a showdown between the Filipino prodigy and the Belarusian veteran? And more importantly, who emerges as the next opponent? Let's set the stage before diving into the analysis. The atmosphere in Abu Dhabi is absolutely electric. The Filipino diaspora has transformed the stadium courts into a home arena for Eala. In her opening round, we saw flags waving, chants roaring, and an energy rarely witnessed outside a Grand Slam final. But the true shock is not coming from the crowd. It is coming from the results. Aliaksandra Sasnovich entered this tournament as a lucky loser. Let that sink in. A lucky loser has completely overturned every prediction. She didn't just defeat Paula Badosa, she outthought her, outplayed her, and outlasted a former world number 2 in a 3-set battle that left the entire venue holding its breath. 6-4, 3-6, 6-1. A scoreline that reads like a clear warning to everyone else in the draw. When a lucky loser takes out a top seed with that level of control in the deciding set, you know you are dealing with a player who has nothing to lose and everything to gain. Sasnovich is dangerous. She's playing with house money, and those are exactly the players who become nightmares for the rest of the field. And then there is Ela, the 20-year-old breakout star. We have watched her evolve from a junior Grand Slam champion into a genuine threat on the WTA Tour. Her round of 32 performance against Zeynep Sönmez was a lesson in poise. Straight sets 6-4, 6-3. It was more than a victory, it was a message. Eala is not here to make up the numbers. She's here to push deep into these 500-level tournaments. She controlled the baseline, managed her nerves, and fed off the roaring crowd to secure her place in this mouth-watering round of 16 showdown. But here is the reality we must confront right now. This matchup was never supposed to happen. When the draw was released, everyone had circled Eala versus Badosa. That was the marquee clash, that was the measuring stick, but Sasnovich tore that script to shreds. And now Eala faces a completely different challenge. She's not up against a power-hitting superstar seed. She's up against a gritty, seasoned, unpredictable veteran who has already proven she can topple giants. This shift changes everything. It alters the tactical game plan, the mental approach, and the pressure. For Eala, defeating Badosa would have been seen as a heroic upset. Beating Sasnovich, however, is now viewed as an expectation. And that shift in pressure is what makes this upcoming match so volatile. Identify the next opponent. That is the mission. We are staring at a draw that leads straight into the quarterfinals. The winner of this Eala-Sasnovich battle does not just advance. They earn a date with the winner of Ekaterina Alexandrova versus Diana Yastremska. We are talking about top-tier talent waiting ahead, but you cannot think about the quarterfinals until you survive the round of 16. This broadcast will go deep. We are not here to gloss over the surface. We will break down every element that led us here. We will analyze Eala's improvements that were crucial against Sönmez. We will dissect Sasnovich's return game that dismantled Badosa. And we will examine the Abu Dhabi court conditions, the pace, the bounce, and the evening humidity that could shape everything changes the trajectory of the ball. We will also discuss the coaching adjustments. We must grasp the full significance of this moment for Asian tennis. Alexandra Ela is currently sitting at a career-high ranking, knocking on the door of the top 40. Victory here, a deep run at this WTA 500, could be the spark that launches her into a seeded position at upcoming Grand Slams. This is not merely a match, it is a turning point in a career. And for Sasnovich, now 31 years old, ranked 109th, grinding her way through qualifying, this represents a revival. It is a reminder that class does not fade. She has been inside the top 30. She understands this stage. She will not be rattled by the roar of Eala's supporters. If anything, she may embrace the role of the villain. So strap in, we have an extensive analysis ahead. We will go point by point through their recent matches. We will project the tactical blueprints. We will, figuratively, listen to the heartbeat of this tournament. The shock has already landed. Badosa is gone. The draw has been shattered. And standing in the aftermath are two players with vastly different journeys, colliding for one place in the final 8. This is the deep dive. This is the breakdown you will not find anywhere else. We will identify the next opponent. But first, we must determine who has the resolve to survive the chaos. The Mubadala Abu Dhabi Open has delivered the drama, and we are only getting started. Ladies and gentlemen, tennis fans from Manila to Minsk, from Abu Dhabi to the Americas, stay with us. We are about to dissect the match everyone is talking about. The shock is real, the stakes are massive, and the analysis begins now. We now move into the heart of our coverage, the deep dive analysis. To understand where this is heading, we must first fully understand what has unfolded over the past 48 hours in Abu Dhabi. This tournament, the Mubadala Abu Dhabi Open, is a WTA 500 event. For those unfamiliar with the tennis ladder, a 500-level tournament is the proving ground where emerging talents collide with established stars. It is not a grand slam, but the field is often just as packed, just as demanding, and just as ruthless. Let's start by breaking down the journey of Alexandra Ela. The Filipino left-hander arrived in Abu Dhabi carrying both hunger and expectation. Following an early exit at the Australian Open and a quarterfinal appearance at the WTA 125 in Manila, questions surfaced about her readiness for the relentless main tour schedule. Could she consistently perform at the 500 level? Her round of 32 opponent was Zeynep Sönmez of Turkey. On paper, it appeared manageable, but tennis is never decided on paper. Sönmez is a battler, a player who recently etched her name into Turkish tennis history. The match, which concluded 6-4, 6-3, set the tone for everything that followed to 3 in Ela's favor, tells a story of controlled aggression. When you examine the match statistics, Ela's serve stood out as a foundation of her success. In the modern women's game, holding serve is critical. Once criticized during her junior years for a serve that sat up too much, Ela has clearly retooled her mechanics. Against Sönmez, we saw a flatter, more penetrating first serve. She was not simply rolling the ball in, she was targeting her locations with intent. That allowed her to take control of points from the very first shot. One of the most important tactical evolutions in Ela's 2026 game is her court positioning. Against Sönmez, she refused to back up. When Sönmez tried to push her deep with heavy looping shots, Ela stepped in and took the ball on the rise. This is a high-risk approach that demands elite timing and hand-eye coordination, but when executed well, it completely steals time from the opponent. Ela consistently rushed Sönmez, forcing hurried decisions, and that pressure is exactly why unforced errors began to creep into the Turkish player's game during the key moments of the second set. We also have to acknowledge the X factor. The Filipino community in the UAE is massive, and they have embraced Ela as a national sporting symbol. The atmosphere during her opening match felt anything but neutral. It resembled a Davis Cup-style environment. Every winner was celebrated, every mistake was met with encouragement. For a 20-year-old, that kind of energy can cut both ways. It can amplify pressure, but Ela appears to have grown into the spotlight. She fed off the energy, stayed relaxed, smiled, engaged with the crowd, and never allowed the noise to distract her. Instead, she used it as fuel. Now let's turn to the other side of the net, to the architect of the chaos, Aliaksandra Sasnovich. To grasp the scale of this upset, you need to understand Sasnovich's recent path. A former world number 29, she has endured a challenging 18 months, sliding outside the top 100 to her current ranking of 109. She entered this tournament as a lucky loser, meaning she was defeated in the final round of qualifying, but received a place in the main draw after a late withdrawal. Historically, lucky losers are among the most dangerous players because they are playing with a second chance and zero expectations. Sasnovich drew the 8th seed Paula Badosa. Badosa, a powerhouse and former world number 2, was widely expected to advance comfortably. The odds makers, analysts, and fans all pointed in her direction. Instead, Sasnovich delivered a tactical masterpiece. The scoreline 6-4, 3-6, 6-1 tells the real story of the upset. After the first 2 sets were split, many assumed Sasnovich would fade physically against Badosa's superior athleticism. The opposite happened. Sasnovich dominated the 3rd set, crushing it 6-1. The way she dismantled Badosa's rhythm was surgical. Known for her flat, aggressive ball striking and her ability to change direction down the line, Sasnovich refused to let Badosa settle into comfortable cross-court exchanges. She took the ball early and redirected pace with precision. Badosa, who thrives on raw power, suddenly found herself out of position. Sasnovich's movement, often questioned in the past, was exceptional. She tracked down ball after ball, forcing Badosa to hit one extra shot, and those extra shots turned into errors. That decisive 6-1 final set is the shock referenced in the headline. This was not a fluke, it was a dismantling. It signaled that Sasnovich is finding the form that once carried her into the top 30. Now we arrive at the matchup itself. Alexandra Ela versus Aliaksandra Sasnovich in the round of 16. Remarkably, these two have never faced each other. The head-to-head stands at 0-0, adding an extra layer of intrigue. There is no shared history, no muscle memory, only video scouting and coaching preparation. Let's break down the tactical battle. First, left-handed spin versus flat power. Ela's left-handedness is a natural weapon. Her cross-court forehand naturally curves away from a right-handed opponent's backhand. However, Sasnovich owns a very solid two-handed backhand that she prefers to strike flat and early. The key question is whether Ela can use her heavy lefty spin to pull Sasnovich wide and open up the court, or whether Sasnovich can absorb that spin and redirect it down the line into the exposed space. If Sasnovich consistently steps in and takes Eala's spin early, Eala could be under serious pressure. If Eala keeps the ball deep and high, forcing Sasnovich back, the advantage swings firmly toward the Filipino. Second, youth versus experience. Eala is 20, Sasnovich is 31. That is an 11-year difference. Sasnovich has seen everything the sport can throw at a player. She has competed on Grand Slam center courts. She has played Fed Cup finals. She understands how to slow a match down when the crowd becomes overwhelming, how to manage momentum, how to disrupt rhythm when needed. Eala brings youthful energy, speed, and recovery, especially valuable in a long, physical 3-set battle under Abu Dhabi's humid conditions. The physical edge favors the younger player, but the mental edge, the match management edge, belongs to the Belarusian. Third, the doubles confidence. We cannot ignore the doubles context. Eala is also competing in the doubles draw alongside her partner Janice Jen. They have just pulled off a huge upset, knocking out Leylah Fernandez and Cristina Buxa. Why does this matter for singles? Because doubles sharpens the net game, it sharpens reflexes. Eala's confidence at the net is at an all-time high right now, and we may see her move forward more often against Sasnovich to finish points in shortened rallies. Now let's address the next opponent implications. The headline asks us to identify who comes next. The winner of this match advances to the quarterfinals, where the bracket sends them into a clash with the winner of Ekaterina Alexandrova versus Diana Yastremska. Both Alexandrova and Yastremska are ultra-aggressive, heavy hitters. If Eala advances, she will once again face a power-based opponent. This matchup with Sasnovich becomes ideal preparation because Sasnovich's flat ball striking closely mirrors what Eala would see in the quarterfinals. If Sasnovich wins, her giant killer run continues. The shock factor rolls forward. So why is all of Abu Dhabi stunned? Because the storyline has flipped. What began as a procession for the favorites has turned into an uprising of the underdogs. The Abu Dhabi crowd loves star power, but it loves a fight even more. Sasnovich has shown she is ready to battle. Eala has shown she possesses composure beyond her years. We also need to consider the specific conditions at Zaid Sports City. This is an outdoor hard court, and reports suggest the surface is playing medium slow this year. That slightly favors Eala, giving her extra time to set up her heavy left-handed forehand. A quicker surface would tilt the balance towards Sasnovich's flat early ball striking. The grittier court allows the ball to grip and jump, enhancing Eala's topspin. However, the match is scheduled for the evening session. As night falls, humidity increases, the air thickens, and the ball slows even more. Clean winners become harder to produce. Rallies extend. Matches turn into physical wars of attrition. Who's better equipped for that scenario? Eala with her youth and recovery, or Sasnovich with her veteran toughness and experience? We also have to examine the ranking implications. Eala currently sits at world number 45. A win here moves her closer to the top 40, possibly even into the top 35 depending on other results. That matters enormously for seeding at Roland Garros. Every ranking point is critical. For Sasnovich, a victory would be equally massive. She needs these points to rebuild her ranking, push back inside the top 100, and avoid the grind of Grand Slam qualifying rounds. The urgency for Sasnovich is real. She is fighting to preserve her place at the elite level. Eala is fighting to rise higher, hunger versus ambition. Now, let's summarize the win conditions. For Eala, it is about landing a high percentage of first serves, using her heavy forehand into Sasnovich's backhand, moving the Belarusian side to test her legs, feeding off the crowd while staying emotionally controlled. For Sasnovich, the blueprint is clear. Take time away from Eala, step inside the baseline, flatten out rallies, rush the young Filipino, quiet the crowd by jumping out to an early lead, and swing freely with the fearlessness of a lucky loser. The stage is set. The first round shock has settled and the reality of the round of 16 has arrived. This is no longer about rankings or expectations. It is about execution. Alexandra Ela versus Aliaksandra Sasnovich. A first-time meeting, a clash of generations, a fight for survival in the Abu Dhabi desert. And with that, we reach the conclusion of this deep dive. We have peeled back every layer of this compelling showdown at the Mubadala Abu Dhabi Open, looked at the stunning upset of Badosa, the steady ascent of Alexandra Ela, and the tactical battlefield awaiting both players in this round of 16. What we are witnessing in Abu Dhabi is more than just a tennis tournament. It is a snapshot of the sport's constant evolution. On one side, you have the enduring grit of veterans like Aliaksandra Sasnovich, players who have been knocked down, slipped in the rankings, pushed into qualifying rounds, yet refuse to disappear. They adapt, they reinvent themselves, they rediscover that spark, that shock factor that reminds everyone why they once stood inside the top 30. Sasnovich's journey this week is a clear example of resilience. Win or lose against Eala, she has already sent a message. Never underestimate experience. On the other side, we see the explosive rise of Alexandra Ela. For Filipino fans and for Asian tennis as a whole, Eala represents the future. She's breaking barriers that stood untouched for decades. Every match she plays at this level, every victory she earns against top 100 opposition reinforces the idea of the Philippines as a rising tennis force. She is not competing only for herself, she is carving a path forward. The The pressure is enormous, yet her ability to embrace it, to smile through it, and to convert it into motivation may be her greatest strength. Looking ahead to the next opponent, whether it is Alexandrova or Yastremska, one thing is clear. The road only becomes tougher. That is the essence of a WTA 500 event. There are no easy rounds. Competition sharpens competition. Whoever survives this clash between Eala and Sasnovich will emerge battle-tested and ready for the quarterfinals. If I were to offer a final prediction based on everything we have examined today, the statistics, the surface, and the momentum, this match feels destined to go the distance. Expect 3 sets, expect momentum swings. Expect Sasnovich to swing freely and possibly seize an early advantage, but also expect Eala's fitness and the overwhelming energy of the crowd to play a decisive role late on. All the ingredients are there for a late-night classic. To our viewers, thank you for staying with us through this in-depth breakdown. We know you want more than just the score, you want the story, you want to understand why a result happens, not just what happens. That is the standard we aim to deliver. This has been a comprehensive look at the shock unfolding in Abu Dhabi. The tournament is far from finished. The drama is only intensifying. We will be here to cover everything that follows. Will the lucky loser extend her fairytale run, or will the Filipino prodigy take another step towards stardom? The court is set, the players are ready, and now you are ready as well. This is your anchor signing off from this special deep dive coverage. Keep your eyes on the ball, keep your love for the game alive, and let's see who proves themselves as the true contender in the next round.